One of the biggest groups of people considering to move to Salida is families with children. With its close-knit community, family-friendly atmosphere, and endless opportunities to get outside, Salida offers the kind of lifestyle many parents are looking for when choosing a place to raise their kids. Joining me today is someone who brings a unique perspective on what it's really like to raise children here. Andre Wilkins is a longtime Salida resident, a music teacher and theater director at Salida High School, and a parent himself. He's also deeply involved in Salida's performing arts community, having directed and performed in numerous musical theater productions and concerts over the years. Today we'll be talking about what makes Salida such a great place for families, from the schools and community to the opportunities available for children here. Thanks for joining me today, Andre.
Thanks for having me, Monica.
Yeah, we cross paths sometimes in Salida, and I remember you just like walking past me at the arcade and were like, I should be on your podcast next time. And it was like, so this has been like a long time discussion of let's get you in here now that it's summer and you're not in school. We were able to get you in for the pod. So thank you for being here.
No, this is great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I'll start where I start with everybody. Tell me your Salida origin story. What brought you here?
Well, I originally grew up in eastern Pennsylvania. And I moved out here to go to college in Gunnison at Western. Okay. And the whole goal was to be a snowboard bum. And I ended up being a music teacher, so really diverted from the goal.
Is that good? That was good though.
That was great.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I like having a paycheck.
Yeah, that's true.
And when I would drive back and forth to Denver, because I would be flying in and out of DIA to go back east to visit family, I would always stop at the KFC or the Taco Bell in Salida, because there wasn't a KFC in Gunnison at the time, so I was like, I'm gonna go have my fast food. You know, I was 19. I didn't understand the harm I was doing to my body.
A yummy cheap meal is what you wanted, right?
Totally. But I always thought Salida was just the highway. And then it was about my senior year of college. I ended up getting diverted on 291 into the downtown area and was introduced to, you know, the old downtown Fib Arc and some other things. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like one of the coolest places I've ever been. And it reminded me a lot of Gunnison, but warmer, and didn't have, you know, four-year university at the time. And so it was always on my radar that Salida would be a place that I would land. And I started my career teaching over in Uray, and that was cool. It was a lot of fun. But when the job opened up in Salida, they were looking for a band director, and my friend Rebecca Gillespie was teaching here, and she called me as soon as she knew she was going to resign and said, my job's going to be open. I know you mentioned coming over here, so just wanted to let you know that. And I was like, Salida is a mega metropolis compared to Uray.
Sure.
And being single at the time, it was the right move.
Nice. What year was that?
2012.
2012. Okay, so you have been here for a bit to see some changes.
Just finished 14 years in Salida.
Wow. Yeah. I think you're considered a resident at that point.
I hope so.
Open discussion about it.
I still say coffee and tournaments, so people are like, when did you move to Colorado?
Yeah.
2003.
Yeah, what just made you think Colorado? Because Gunnison's pretty different than the East Coast, so.
I was actually a snowboard instructor in the Poconos, and the other instructors would bring back pictures of them at Aspen and Crested Butte, and I'd be like, what am I doing here? And as soon as my parents green flagged me being able to move to Colorado, I was like, done. And Gunnison was a college I heard about from my English teacher, who got a football scholarship that played Western in college. He went to school in Salt Lake City. And so he was like, if you're like, your parents are making you go to college and you just want to mountain bike and snowboard, go to Western. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then,
and
and got snowed in as... that's not a funny joke, sorry. But no, I've stayed ever since. And Colorado's where I want to be.
Yeah, it sounds like you align well with it. So so 2012, so you started working at the school, and you've been at the school ever since, been in Salida ever since?
Correct.
And then it sounds like you've picked up a few other things along the way since moving here, right? Yeah. Both career-wise and family-wise. So,
totally.
So you started out as the band director, and then how does musical theater come into all of this?
Musical theater was always a big part of my life. When I was in high school, I was in all the performances. When I got to college, I did a lot of musical theater and opera and traditional plays, and being on stage was kind of the goal. I really enjoyed acting and performing, and Gunnison didn't have a ton of, they had a very tight-knit performing arts community, so it was really, really awesome to get involved, and it was easy to get opportunity, and they had such a great mentorship and coaching, so it was really, really awesome to work with these world-class professors and just hone my skills in. And when I got to Salida, there was already a thriving performing arts community with Calliope at the time and stage left theater, and it was just easy to pop right in. And I was new. I was the shiny and new toy that moved to town, and so it was really fun.
That's cool. Yeah, it seems like a lot of I've talked to other guests who are involved in the theater community. There is for being a small town, we have a lot of talented people here that are really into not just theater but performing arts and music, and we've got a lot of amazing people here. So
when I got here, it was a middle school and high school band job, and at Western I was a voice major with a minor in saxophone, so being a band director and a choir director and helping do some student directing in theater, kind of that jack of all trades. I really found my passion was the small rural communities of Colorado, and I didn't want to go back east, and I grew up in between New York City and Philadelphia, and so I didn't really want to go back and be East Coast anymore. I really enjoyed being out in the middle of nowhere in Colorado, and so being able to do a little bit of everything, giving students opportunities to try everything. A lot of my students reflect kind of who I was when I was their age, where it was like I was in band, I was in choir, I was in theater, and I also was a varsity soccer athlete, and like kind of did it all. And I feel like that really helped shape what I have to offer teaching-wise in Salida. And raising my own kid. She does everything, gets after it. But then I got my master's degree at Adams State University, and that made me eligible to teach concurrent enrollment for CMC in Western. So I transitioned full-time at the high school when our choir director left, and I took over the vocal music program, the instrumental music program, and the theater program around that time. So I teach adjunctly for CMC and occasionally Western, and that's kind of where it led me into this only high school / a little bit of college.
Yeah, no, and what a great opportunity for kids then to be able to get that basically college credit, right, for these performing arts.
Totally. Yeah, we have the high school jazz band and the high school audition choir we call the symphonic choir. We made these audition-based, high-achieving ensembles, and they get 1 gen ed credit from CMC. So if they're working on their bachelor's or their associates, they don't have to give up one of the things that makes them them, which being a musician, and they could still start working towards that goal.
That's
and
awesome.
I think it's great. Yeah. I'm really proud of the work the school district, CMC, and I got to do on that.
What a great opportunity, because I was a theater kid, but I didn't get college credit for it.
I remember like when I was in high school, it was all AP. Like the idea to go to a concurrent enrollment university was pretty foreign. You had to get a 4 or 5 on the AP test for it to transfer. And I remember my friends that were older than me were like, dude, take it in college. Gen Ed college is way easier than AP high school. But no, the concurrent enrollment system through CMC is pretty awesome.
And how long has that been going on? Not very long, right?
Well, we started integrating. Boy, I don't want to get yelled at.
Oh, that's okay. You can give rough estimates.
Well, I got my master's in 2015, I think, is when I graduated. Or 2014. All the years blend together.
I know, yeah.
Post parenting. And so right around then we were doing concurrent enrollment for Western, and then CMC campus came in.
Okay.
And we had this huge community. Yeah, we had to vote for CMC to come in here, and they took over and started a campus here. And I would say, really during the pandemic is because you could I'm trying to think, asynchronous, I think is the word, teach those classes. So it really paired to online learning. And so that really worked out in 2016 or 2020, I'm sorry.
Yeah, when we were all locked
when we were all online. So, that's when I remember we really started ramping up the offerings. But I'm also in my own corner of the world in the music department, so
Sure.
I don't always know what everyone else is doing.
No, that's fine. I know you're speaking to this slice. So speak a little bit more to that slice in terms of, I talk to people who have kids and they're thinking of moving here.
Absolutely.
And so, from the lens of the school's offerings, the extracurricular offerings that you're talking about, can you speak to that a little bit more?
Totally. I represent kind of the I don't want to say non-athletic, but like I pick up this pocket of students that aren't going to be a 3-sport athlete. They want to be involved in some of the performing arts, and I have students that are also athletes. Like I don't want to misrepresent who I have, but when you're a high school, you have a huge demographic of not just students based on race, income, opportunities, privilege, all those things, but you also have students that are trying to figure out who they are. And so when you have space to give kids to explore what makes them who they are and makes them happy, I kind of fill that niche for students that, I'm not going to go out for the football team.
Yeah.
And so I get kind of these, I don't know, because I was like this when I was in high school, where I was like, I was a band kid, I was a choir kid, I was tap dancing, and
cool.
So I didn't fit in the traditional mold, and so but I found my place in the performing arts, and so I want to advertise that if you have a student that is looking to explore other parts of themselves outside what we would consider the mainstream high school experience, we have plenty of opportunity at the high school and the middle school for students that are kind of looking for those more performing arts based. So like right now at the high school, I offer a beginning guitar class. I offer the traditional concert band experience. We also have a marching band that's pretty laid back. Like if you're coming from, I've had students that move down from the Front Range and they're like, so what's the marching band schedule like for the summer? And I'm like, I don't see you till the first day of school. Like,
oh, wow.
This
Okay.
isn't, we're here to contribute to the home field atmosphere on Friday nights, and we want to like learn some basic skills, and we want to build a community around band, because one of the cool things about music and the performing arts in general is the competition aspect happens at the beginning, like when you're auditioning for a part in a play, or you're looking to get like first chair clarinet. Once you find your place in the ensemble that you're participating in, it's all about the group effort to achieve something bigger than yourself. And we don't do that in wins and losses. We do that with, did the audience enjoy our performance? Are we getting what we need out of this? And I think it's really important for students that don't always experience deferred gratification anymore. I mean, my daughter, she's like, I want to watch this episode of Bluey instead of like waiting for Saturday morning cartoons.
Sure. Yeah.
And yeah. And so picking up an instrument or learning a new dance number for the musical or designing the set for the play, all those things, you don't see the fruits of your labor several weeks down the road, and then you have the validation of your peers in your community that could affirm or not affirm that you did a good job.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really tough skill to emulate in other areas of public education. So that's kind of like my shtick for performing arts and why you should do it.
Yeah, why everybody should do it, right?
Totally. I think it could benefit a lot. And then we have a jazz band, which is the highest level of instrumental music you could do at the high school, and that's the CMC Gen Ed credit.
Oh, cool.
And then we have a non-audition choir. We just call it concert choir. Anybody could join. It's not meant to... It's meant for you to... I mean, when you're going through puberty and your voice is constantly cracking, or you have that really airy sound, like, it's vulnerable to sing. And so having an ensemble where the achievement is doing it, not doing it to the level that you would like expect somebody to be like super awesome at. It's just like, come on, we're gonna sing, and there's repertoire out there that's gonna make everybody sound good.
Yeah.
And we're gonna find your voice. And then we have our symphonic choir, which is an audition group, which is, you were in concert choir, now you want to take this seriously and you want to put significant work in outside of class, and you want to achieve a high standard of performance, and you want to hold yourself and others accountable to a high level, and that's also a CMC Gen Ed credit. And then I teach history of rock and roll through CMC, which is super awesome class.
That sounds really fun. I want to take that class.
Let's do it. Let's do it. And that class covers music history from a rock and roll and pop perspective, starting in the late 1940s up to, it's supposed to be contemporary, but I started teaching the class, back in 2015. I took it in college in 2005. Like a significant portion of history has happened.
Yeah, so we're missing about a little over 10 years there.
So if I make it to grunge in the 90s, then I'm like, okay, I made it far enough. But it's a really cool sociology class too, where you start getting into protest music and civil rights and all the stuff going on in the 70s and 80s, and like the whole concept of MTV and how music shapes our world. And from that perspective and that genre. And then I direct the school plays. We do a fall musical, which is typically a full-length musical. Last year we did Hadestown, and this year we're going to do Shrek. And so my goal as the theater director, if you're going to be in theater for all 4 years of high school, you're going to graduate doing a variety of types of theater. So when you go into the real world, or if you are college bound for theater, you have enough repertoire in your toolbox that you can get to college or get to the professional world and be able to do the things you need. When I invite professional actors, Creed Repertory Theater comes up quite a bit and performs for the elementary school. And when they talk to the students, they're like, yeah, children's theater is where I make the most money. And I was just like, oh. And they're like, yeah, I always get gigs, and it's really like empowering, and you have a bunch of elementary school kids in front of you, and they're super into it. And you're not always going to go do Streetcar Named Desire. Sometimes you got to do, Cinderella. And so it's really cool from my perspective that we try and do a musical one year that's like more adult themes. Like Hadestown, I wouldn't recommend going if you were under 12 years old. And then Shrek, which is going to be for all ages. And the year before we did Addams Family, and that was really fun to have all the kids in the community there hooting and hollering. And, that's also where we have to inspire those kids to be in theater when they get to high school.
Absolutely. These are performed in front of the community, right? It's not just the parents of the kids in the show, right?
Correct. And the high school auditorium, tickets are like $5. It's pretty cheap. And we have 370 seats available for you to come watch our shows.
The steam plant, right?
No, at the high school.
Oh, the high school, sorry.
High school auditorium.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that big. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, no. We have an awesome auditorium at the high school. It's really nice. And then we do a spring play, which is a non-musical, and we kind of rotate through. This past year, we did a series of one acts and took them to a competition in Pueblo. And so we got the kids learning to do like, this isn't just like you're out there for your grandparents and they're going to clap no matter what. Like we need to like tighten the screws down and do something at a high level. And that was really fun. And we were runners up at that competition. And then we did two student written one acts. And so we have opportunities for students to write plays, and they were directed by students too. And so, in the springtime, that's what we do. Wow. And I think that covers everything.
That's a lot. There's so many offerings. I didn't realize that was all the case. I feel like I've seen some of this, and I was reading up on a little bit of it, but I didn't realize it was that robust. You're a busy guy.
It is. Yes. Yeah. Thank you for seeing that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and you keep going. There's so many options. So for somebody who is at all interested in music or performance, it seems like they have so many options then to just get part of it.
Yeah, and that's what I've had a few people. I ran into an awesome family probably 3 or 4 years ago at Riverside Park, and they introduced me to their daughter, and she was in 7th grade, and she played trumpet, and they're like, we're trying to move to Salida, but we don't know if there's music here. And I was like, funny thing,
oh my gosh,
I'm the band director.
Serendipitous for them to run into you.
And they moved here when she was in 9th grade, and she's been our first chair trumpet player ever since. And
that's amazing.
She's awesome. And and so I would hesitate, if you're going to a 5A school in the Front Range, or you're going to Cherry Creek or one of the Boulder schools, there's obviously a a different, I mean, you have to track yourself. You're going to be in band, or you're going to be in choir, or you're going to be in theater.
Okay.
You don't get to do everything. And that, like, I'm making a huge stereotype there, but when I talk to my friends that teach in those areas, they're like, I can't have a kid do everything. I need them to do the one thing and do it well.
Gotcha. So they can't kind of jump around and
totally.
Yeah. Okay.
So here, I would say that, you know, if you feel lost, you'll be found. And, you know, it's kind of like a catch-all, but also gives kids opportunities to do many different things.
Do you think that has to do with our population size, or why was that different here than in the Front Range?
I think you know, with 400 kids in the high school, if you get 10% of them involved in something, that'd be 40 kids. And sometimes that's enough to do things. Sometimes that's not enough. We had 35 kids in Hadestown, and a lot of those kids were also in band, were also in choir. And so I think, like, getting a kid that wants to be an artist, a performing artist, kind of getting them to do more than one thing. You know, I can't steal a volleyball player to come be the lead in the musical, because the volleyball team demands so much time, just like the musical demands so much time. So I think if we're going to do things, we need to borrow from the programs that allow that time commitment to be flexible.
Okay.
And also, kids like doing it. Like, they like doing a variety of things. And we had a student that played Wednesday in Adam's Family. I say last year, but I forget, we just completed a school year.
I guess it was 24, I think.
Yeah.
I was reading about that one, yeah.
And then she ran all the lights for our spring play this year. And so she got off stage and went up in the booth, and she, like, learned all this theater tech. And so I think, you know, giving kids the opportunity to learn something new, because eventually they'll have something that comes up. They get a job, they end up finding out, like, hey, I made varsity and now I can't do this anymore. And so that's okay. So that's kind of why we kind of, I don't know, did that answer your question? I feel now I'm ranting.
No, it's all right. Well, I was asking, you know, like, why it was a little, you kind of did. It's mostly, like, population, it seems like, would be the primary reason of the differences. But then just, you gave us some good insight into what it's like to be a student here. You know, that you do have those choices. There are some decisions that have to be made in terms of, you know, sports versus performing arts if it's happening around the same time.
And plus, if a high school has 2,000 kids in it, 40 kids is a different percentage than in a school of 400. So
absolutely, yeah. So
and
so really just the population. And then I think, you know, tying in the community aspect of it, you know, like we said before, this is a community that does support the performing arts.
They do.
So I guess, like, speak to the community aspect as well of the arts programs here and
absolutely
reception of people here.
That we always get a pretty good turnout. It's really, we have a ton of adults in the community that like to donate, and they want to, like, if you look in our programs, you'll see all our sponsors and things. And we have a lot of private donations. We have people that say, like, my kids are grown up. We don't have this financial burden anymore, but, you know, we would like to have somebody else have the opportunity that may not. So here's some money for you if you need something for the kids. And we go to many honor festivals where kids will audition at local universities, and they'll make it into their honor band or honor choir. And so we'll get community members that say, like, here's $300. Whoever doesn't have money for food, make sure they eat. And like, that generosity is tough because a lot of people don't want to. It's not tough. These people are awesome, and I'm very grateful, but they don't always want to be acknowledged.
Oh, okay.
And so it's trying to say thank you publicly so people know how awesome these people are, but also respecting their privacy. It's kind of a fine balance. We had a wonderful couple, Joe Ellen and Doug Mendelson. They would always donate several $1,000s a year to the theater program to send kids to our thespian conference in Denver. And Doug recently passed away last summer, and his wife and I worked on a memorial scholarship, and we were able to give like $2,500 out in scholarships this year through other donations, selling concessions at our performances and a little bit of private donation too. So it's just amazing to me that the people who, your kid's not in the show, but you know the value of it, and so we're going to support it however you tell us. And that's a pretty cool responsibility.
Yeah.
And it's also stressful because I think about what's the best way to use the money.
Good problem to have, though.
Yeah, totally. Rich or poor, it's always good to have money.
But still, yeah, no, just I guess that's a good example of it speaks to there are community members that really care. And that's one of the things I like to tell people is choose your, whether it's theater or anything else, people in this community care about this community.
Absolutely.
And it's in so many facets.
Totally.
So that's just a good illustration of just that one facet that
Absolutely.
Like, they don't have kids in theater, but they want to help other kids that are in theater because they see the value in it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anything else? So if somebody is thinking, I kind of asked that question already. Let me rephrase that question. If from a parent's perspective, just growing up here in general, we talked a lot about the school, but just in general in Salida, so no matter what age of kid, give me some, like, what are some things that people would maybe not expect moving here, good or bad?
Ooh, good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, we can be real.
Yay. Well, I'll give you, my daughter turns 7 in September,
Okay.
and she's going in the 1st grade, and this summer she's been a part of 2 camps so far. Jordan Gonzalez put on a music theater camp,
Okay.
and so she was with Jordan and her team of experts from 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon for 5 days, and then had a wonderful performance.
Oh,
and
fun.
so me, who, I stopped calling it summer break, and I'm like, I'm in recovery mode. Like, I'm gonna do the things I need to do to get ready for the school year. And so I've been able to get out on my bike and do some fly fishing. And so, like, I had this whole week where I could plan to do things.
Yeah.
And that, and it was a very well done camp. And right now, Dealsha's down at the Scout Hut with Tina Grauman doing an art camp. And
the
so
coveted art camp.
it's so, like, I think my wife had to pull some strings to get her a spot, but
You have to sign up for that one quick. We have a lot of wonderful camps in town. And
it's
that
like
was,
swim
one
lessons.
of the
Like, if
most-
you don't do it, you get
they're
that.
the most sought after ones. Well, that's awesome. I've heard such good things about that camp. Yeah.
And she comes home every day super happy. So, like, I went for a mountain bike ride before this, and I saw a huge bighorn sheep at the top of Little Rattler, and
fun.
I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm gonna go do this podcast after this. And
Have a beautiful Salida day.
it's so great. So I think, like, when I talk to people that move here from other parts, and of course my own world of young kids, parents worry about, one, we're so removed from a diverse cultural experience.
Sure.
And as much as, like, I've never raised a kid anywhere else, so when I go back east and, like, visit my sister in New Jersey, like, we're sitting in the air conditioning, and then we, like, go to an event. And it's not like we're going to get on our bikes and go to the river and just explore. And so I think, like, what you might be giving up in a traditional, like, suburban lifestyle, you're making up for in this experience where your child's going to learn to be social in a different way than they would be in the city or the suburbs. And, like, Fibbark's a great example. Like, I just sat out in front of, F Street in Sackett while my kid played in the bounce house for, like, 2 hours and made, like, 6 new friends. And came out and was like, we want to go get the smoothie on the bike. And I was like, oh, that's pricey, but okay, let's go. And so, like, that, anytime I think about why I love raising my child here, I think about my, like, third person view of watching them interact, like a music in the park where you're like, where did she run off to? And then I see somebody across, like, hey, your kid's over here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. And, like, that, we call it Salida parenting, where
it is group parenting in
Totally.
those social situations. Absolutely.
And I love that sense of community where your child's going to get more than just your perspective. Because how many times do we see our friends, and I see this with students where they just regurgitate what their parents say and do, for better or worse. And so now when they see you and Kieran at the farmer's market, Dealsha has 2 safe adults that she could say hi to.
Yeah.
And if she can't find me because I'm standing behind a tree, like at least she knows like Monica could text Andre and find Daddy.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's such a gift, and it's also really scary to like embrace that and not get stressed out. But also, I don't know anywhere else with my friends that have kids that don't live in Salida. I don't know what other community has that. I'm sure it does exist, but
sure. Yeah.
I think that's a really special thing.
Yeah.
And let's see, soccer. Our kids played soccer together, and that's really fun. I mean, as a soccer player, I was like, okay, my daughter, I think, is more about everybody. Why can't we all just score a goal? Why do we have to be against each other? She hasn't got quite that edge yet, but that was super fun. Like a couple days a week, send them out, and they get to run around. They get to enjoy, and you got the backdrop of the Collegiate Peaks in the background, and Chavanow.
Yeah.
And like, I need to bring like an out-of-state friend like once every 6 months to just remind me how beautiful it is here.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's
I know,
like,
look at these mountains.
Yeah.
I tell people there's a mountain view from everywhere. Like, I want a mountain view from my house. I'm like, well, sometimes you could just walk outside and there's mountains all around us, and you won't get sick of them. But maybe you won't see them as brightly as when you first get here. But
totally,
they're everywhere, and it's gorgeous.
And I'm trying to think of like when we say like the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like I can't.
You're having a hard time coming up with a negative. We don't have to have a negative. I was just giving you the opportunity.
Well, this is how long it's been since I lived on the East Coast. I can't think of anything to complain about.
What a horrible thing to be.
I'm so mad.
I do feel like, that's a good segue into just the energy here. People are friendlier and just a little bit more positive. And
my sister came out to visit when Dealsha was born, and she was like, I went to a 4-way stop, and the person that got there waved me through. And I was like, yeah, people are nice. Like
they didn't honk at you.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, no, if you can't think of anything, that's fine. I just wanted to give you the opportunity, for people to know that, and it's not for everybody. It's not huge here.
Well, the outdoor lifestyle is, I dump trucked our boat in the town wave, and my daughter fell out when she was 3. And luckily she had a PFD and somebody was with her. And like, now we don't go through the town wave. Like, everybody gets out and walks down and meets me on the other side, because you can't control water. And
river safety is important.
Totally.
Very much so.
And so understanding, I think, the danger and listening to your fears when I saw somebody running on S Mountain today with their dog off leash. And I did that for years with my dog before he started getting arthritis, and he's old now. But I'm like, how did I go through all those years without my dog getting bit by a rattlesnake?
Yeah, in the summer you do have to be careful.
Totally.
Around that area for sure.
And when Dealsha mountain bikes on S Mountain, and she falls off, is she falling into a rattlesnake? And so I think just being able to know the nature you're sharing your experience with and respecting it is super important.
Yeah, no, that's true. We're not in a bubble, but
totally.
Respect nature.
But I really, the only, as far as being a parent, we had a wonderful experience at the hospital when Dealsha was born, except it was during the Decker fire, so we had to stay inside the first 2 weeks she was born.
Oh, because the air quality was bad.
Yeah. And everybody cares about your kid's success. When she started at ECC at the Early Childhood Center, we were lucky enough to get a spot because I was a school district employee.
Okay.
That's a point of privilege I'd like to acknowledge, because I know not everybody gets to experience that. But all her teachers at ECC, they would communicate with me regularly, and my wife Kaylee, Dealsha's mom. And when she got to kindergarten, there was a great set up to get her prepared and get the parents prepared for what kindergarten's going to be like, and what the expectations outside of school are like, to make sure your kid's learning is you're getting the most out of what is being offered. And it was weird being a teacher in the district and then being like a dad in parent-teacher conferences. And I'm like, oh, that's what it feels like when that's said to me. I should rethink how I phrase that at my next parent-teacher conference. That was harsh. But also, like, it's not a synthetic experience. It's a very real experience. And we got a lot of tools to help our child learn at home and how to be supportive. And because I thought, like, oh, I'm a teacher, I'll be able to do this. Can't get my daughter to play piano at all. I'm like, we're going to do piano lessons every day. And she's like, no, Dad. I want to get.
It's
like,
hard to teach your own child stuff.
Yeah, totally. I got to get like a swap with another parent and be like, what can you teach my kid? I'll teach your kid how to play clarinet. And so that's been a positive experience. But having my summers off, quote unquote, makes it a lot easier for us with childcare in the summertime. And I know not everybody gets to have. I mean, I always had a second job in the summer until my daughter was born, and I'm like, well, it's going to be cheaper for me not to work than to pay for childcare.
Totally.
And so that's been pretty fun to have the play dates and people drop kids off in the morning, and I can get some work. Being an only child, she always needs a play friend, and I can't always be available emotionally and mentally to play pretend.
It does take a lot, but yes,
yeah.
I mean, that just speaks to there's a lot of people in the community with kids at that age that you can connect with, and
totally,
that are happy to help,
and I love like all the hand-me-down stuff we've gotten, like all Dealsh's hand-me-down ski stuff is Patagonia.
Yeah, that's true. And people are just like, this is perfect. I want to hand it to somebody else who can use it. I was just reaching out to somebody recently to give them some of my son's old stuff. So yeah, I totally get it. But you've given us such a good perspective of, just the school here and being a parent here, and really appreciate it. Thank you. Did you want to add anything else before we wrap up?
My wife used to live in Ireland. And she grew up in Vermont, and I grew up in Eastern Pennsylvania. So we always think about, like, what if we left? What would that look like? Okay. And I think all of us that find our way here from we're not natives, but you always have that wondering feeling, because I didn't get to Salida without wondering. Mm-hmm. And so we think about what it would be like if we just left and did something else. And then we see how happy our daughter is. I mean, the 4th of July parade was super awesome, and all the things that happened in the park. And I don't know where else we would find in the world that would give our child the life experience and the opportunities that Salida does. And I think it always, how we always talk ourselves out of it is, well, what, Deal's got to go to high school here. Like, oh my God, like, right? And so I don't know. I think it's always, you definitely get stuck here. If you can get here and you have found the infrastructure to make it work, you'll be sticking it out, and it's pretty awesome. Yeah, if you can get here and stay, totally. That's perfect. That's good to know. Well, thank you for sharing all of your insights. Thanks for having me. I learned a lot. November 13th and 14th, here we go. 7 p.m. is Shrek at Salida High School, and there's a matinee at 2 o'clock on the Saturday show on the 14th. Every Friday, most Friday nights, the band will be out playing with the football team. And when does that start? I think our first game is the last weekend in August. Okay. I tried really hard to disconnect from my school computer, and I'm like, no, that's all right. The calendar will be there. That's perfect. They'll look. But yeah, no, that's good to know. Yeah, you've got stuff. I'm surprised you already have your dates, or I guess you have to plan that far ahead. So November, That's apply good to know. I want to see that one. Yeah, it's going to be good. Okay, that'll be fun. And it'll be fun. Awesome. Well, thank you for all you do for our community. Thank you for including me today, and all you do too. This is great. Awesome. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. So this is actually the final episode of season 3 in the Living in Salida podcast. So you're sending us out with a bang, Andre. Last prime number. Thanks to everyone for listening this season, and stay tuned for season 4 coming soon. Yay.